Michael Prince. Man, that was good. That was good. The best I've heard you. You know, and the whole talk today is, I'm sitting there in my seat going, he's talking about hand in hand and stand up, and it's like, why is this congregation not standing up? Why are they not reaching out and grabbing hands? And it was like, oh, I'm one of them. Maybe I should reach out and grab a hand. Maybe I should stand up. That's the whole premise of the talk today. And I want to begin with a quote from Lao Tzu, the founder of the Taoist religion, when he wrote, "If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. And if there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. But if there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart." Peace begins with me. And we can spend a lifetime sitting in a chair saying, why doesn't somebody grab somebody's hand? Why doesn't somebody stand up? And God eventually puts in our heart, I am somebody. I am somebody. You are somebody. And peace always begins. It has its source, its foundation, its reality, and its strength within us individually. But how many of you find yourself singing, and this would be two confessions today. I found myself singing this beautiful song that we sing every week with a bit of a different spin. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with you. And let it begin with you and you and you and you and everybody else. And I found that I've been nurturing and giving birth to some activist energy in my life. You know, many of us are of an age where we're activists, right? And we marched for peace. We marched for good on the planet. And I'm really good at that. If I see something wrong out here, I'm the first person to stand up and say, we need to make a change here. But what I've noticed about the energy I've been bringing to that equation, because a desire is a divine idea, the divine idea of peace. But I find that I am holding and waving a banner for a greater reality in my congregation, in my family, in any situation. And I've got my banner and I'm holding it really tightly with a big closed fist. I found that this closed fist is not necessarily the greatest way to achieve peace. And that maybe there's some work that wants to happen within me that I can begin to open that hand. And that peace can look a little bit more like this. Scripture has told us that we spend a lot of time as human beings looking at the speck in my brother or my sister's eye. Yet there's a big old log hanging in my own eye that I am ignoring. So perhaps to create peace, I need to do some self-reflection. I need to look at the energy that I am bringing to my activism and find that there might be a place within me that needs to release, that needs to open to a new paradigm, a new reality before I'm of any good to what is happening out here in my community, in my city, in the nation. You know, peace begins here with the thought I am thinking. And if the thought I am thinking is against something, I'm not creating the peace that I seek. It starts here. If the feeling I am holding is there's a feeling that there's something wrong, I'm holding a space and a consciousness of brokenness. This world is not broken. The world is calling for us to wake up. And where do we wake up? By changing the perception, pulling the logs out of our eyes so that we can then be available in a more loving, peaceful, hopeful, and joyful place for our brothers and our sisters. I am somebody. You are somebody. But as a human race, we have this thing called the ego. We call it the Pharisee mind that wants to separate us and compartmentalize people and decisions and countries and belief systems. But the reality is when we as individuals seek out that which separates us, that which puts distance between us, or puts any kind of division between us, we are setting up and living as the very energy field that is pushing peace away from us. If I am holding a consciousness or a thought or a view that has divided us, no matter what your opinion might be, no matter how justified I might feel in my opinion different than yours, I am counteractive by divine law to the peace that I am creating. You hear that? The distance I perceive between myself and any country, any religious movement, any leader, any person is the exact distance between me and the presence of God. The distance that I place between me and anybody with which I might be in a conflict is the exact energy. The energy I put into that exercise is the exact energy that peace is moving away from me. And so I'm on a treadmill, never getting to the place I want. Perhaps we can change the energy internally and externally and open our hands and find a different way of being an activist for peace. Jesus, the man that we celebrate at Christmas time, he had a very deep sense of the universe, yes? Among other things, he was a master teacher of quantum reality, quantum interconnectivity. He had a mystical view and awareness of the inseparable energy that connects all things, that connects all people, regardless of our human stuff. He could see beyond the veil. And the term he used for that quantum reality was the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven constitutes a whole bunch of things, not the least of which is the place of oneness that we sing about, that we talk about, that we want to experience. Let us develop a Christ consciousness that sees beyond the veil and begins to see oneness. It is the energy that exists between us, within us, and far beyond us, because it is infinite in its scope, and it is waiting for us to stand at the door and knock and say, I want a greater reality. But the door is not here. The door will always be in here. You know, our mortal minds, our human minds, too easily perceive the boundaries of time and space, and bodies and opinions. Don't we go there? We rush to the differences that we hold. And perhaps there's a greater way to do it. And we begin to fall into an egotistical mindset that says we live in a finite reality. And there are scant resources, and so I've got to fight for my ego's self-interests. I have to fight for my piece of the pie because somebody might take it away, because there isn't enough. That's coming from a limited consciousness that said that God is limited. God is not limited. Peace is not limited. Love is not limited. But we as our human beings have said it is a finite reality, so I have to take mine. I have to get mine. And when you are in that place of getting mine and taking mine, there becomes right and wrong. There becomes good and bad. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. Does that sound like the most effective way to create peace? Not to me. Our failure to recognize oneness is absolutely most evident in our inability to see God in all people, in every person. Oh, certainly, it's easy spirituality to say, as Scripture tells us, I can love God with my whole heart, my mind, my soul, and my being. That's kindergarten. But love you as I love myself, now I'm in a graduate course. Love you as I love myself. The master teacher said, love your enemies. Pray for those that persecute you. Let me take it a little further. I'm going to ask you to love the people that irritate the hell out of you. I want you to pray for the people that drive you crazy, that feel like they're from a whole far-off distant planet and you can't understand them. This is the energy that says, understand me. This is the energy that says, let me try to understand you before you understand me. This is what will create peace. This is what will create harmony. It is the very exercise that will allow peace on earth. Everything we do here, we sing here, we say here, is of no consequence if we cannot find a place of harmony and peace with the people that we disagree with the people that drive us nuts. And you know who you are. So today, I want to challenge us, as it says in the Old Testament, to put down our weapons and take up the plowshares. Now, I hope nobody here is carrying knives and guns and swords. If you are, I'm going to get a cage up here. But the weapons that we carry are the judgments, the self-righteousness. I'm right, you're wrong. Get over it. The indignation. And we as human beings, our ego goes to these qualities, and we manifest these qualities. I'm not here to blame, I'm just here to call out and put a light on the truth. And I found that self-righteousness and indignation are not necessarily the greatest way to peace. I'm asking you, in every area of your life, to drop those weapons. Those are weapons that keep us separate. And to find a place of understanding. Perhaps we can begin to drop the evidence. We as human beings, I'm really good at it. I'll be the first one to own it. I gather evidence to prove my case that you wronged me, or that I'm smarter than you are, or I know more than you are. Evidence is going to create war on earth. And Einstein noted you cannot make plans for war at the same time preparing for peace. It's impossible. And maybe we can live our namesake here in unity and understand what unity really means and not make plans for self-righteousness while preparing for unity. It's counter to each other. Perhaps we can make plans for harmony and balance and peace and understanding and love this holiday season and give birth to something far greater than a gift under a Christmas tree or a gift at a Hanukkah celebration. Perhaps we can open our hands and our hearts and our minds to understand first. Jesus said, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. I've personally had moments. I am a passionate person, if you don't know that about me. And when I get a cause under my skin, I can really fight for it. But how effective do you think I have been in my life? Well, say if I had a conflict here, we're going to create peace, Jeannie. You and I are going to work this through. We're going to find peace here. We're going to find God. We're going to find love. How effective is that activism? Not at all. Resistance. I am resisting the emerging presence of God and light in my life by getting so stuck in my need to solve. My need to be an activist and to wave the banner of peace. There will be peace on earth. Wow. Perhaps that statement can begin to look like this. There will be peace on earth. I am committed to peace on earth. I am committed to peace with you, even if you don't look at me. We're marching for justice and peace and truth and goodness, that's right, but perhaps the march can be an internal one where we examine what is the energy within our own being before we march externally. Mother Teresa knew it better than anybody when she said, if you throw an anti-war rally, I'm not going. But throw a pro-peace rally and I'm all over it. I want you, yes, go ahead and applaud that. I've learned that self-righteousness and judgment and indignation are not the path to peace. They're not effective. And when I feel conflicted with another person or a troubling situation, I will not achieve peace of mind, if it is dependent on a change in an outer reality. If I am seeking peace and it is dependent on you changing, your heart, your mind, your opinion changing, I will never find the peace that I am seeking. I'm keeping it away from me. And I will also never achieve peace if I make it a destination, a place of reward, where everything changes and now suddenly there's well-being and harmony. Why is that? Because peace is not a destination. At the truth of spiritual reality, peace is a realization. It is not a destination, it is a realization, and it is calling from within you, give me life. Find the place. We talk about silence in this church a lot. And silence is not the absence of chaos. Peace is not the absence of discord in your life. We're human. We're going to have these moments like that. Peace is an inner knowing that I am one. I will reach out hand in hand even in our disagreement, and I will love you. And I will allow you to love me back, even if it feels uncomfortable. I'm calling that forth from this community. I am calling that forth in every area of this community. The sacred container that our finance committee has created, I'm going to create one right alongside with it. Because abundance is abundance and abundance, and it's not just in dollars. As the abundance of the dollars grows, the abundance of love and harmony and balance in this congregation is going to be elevated. And I'm calling myself accountable to that. No longer from this moment forward do I allow myself to be an activist for peace, but to be a conduit for love and peace, to be with an open hand. Mother Teresa said beautifully, if I have no peace, it is because I have forgotten that I belong to you and you belong to me and we belong to each other. 2013, look out. I have a vision of this community. And you want to hear a little bit about it, come to the family chat. That as we grow, we're going to grow in every single area. And the first is, from this moment on, this church no longer will define itself by past wounds. It will no longer define itself by past hurts. but it will define itself by being the higher vibration, the greater realization of peace on earth as we remember we belong to each other. You are my brother. You are my sister. You are my family. And in my family, we're going to rub up against each other. We're going to dance, and sometimes we're going to step on each other's toes. But let us be proving the namesake of unity, and not prepare for indignation and self-righteousness, but prepare for peace by being the living example of the Christ consciousness. Let us give birth to this reality, this truth, and know that perhaps, as I'm getting excited, the activist in me is getting excited, that at the end of 2013 we will say not only are we more abundant in the offering plate on the consistent giving program, but I'm more aware of who I truly am. I matter. I am somebody. I reached out and I grabbed the hand of my brother and my sister. And I proved love, peace, and unity. It is the place of namaste. It is the place of what this community is all about. And I'm inviting you on the train. People, get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no ticket. Just get on board. Namaste.